would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat Shalom.
Is she a rapper now? What was that little rhyme there? Daddy's home, throws the foam, Shabbat Shalom. At this point, I am fully convinced this is a psyop, right? Now that Charlie Kirk is no longer around to speak for himself, the new CEO of TPUSA, Erika Kirk, is using this moment to basically push Israel down our throats.
On Friday night, when he would get home from work, he would turn off his phone and he would shove it in the junk drawer and he would say, Shabbat Shalom.
I asked Grok, do Christians say Shabbat Shalom? And the response was no. Christians typically do not say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom is a traditional Hebrew greeting used by Jews on the Sabbath, Friday evening through Saturday evening. It literally means Sabbath peace or peaceful Sabbath and is specific to Jewish observance of Sabbath. Christians generally do not observe the seventh-day Sabbath, Saturday, in the same way Jews do. Most Christians observe Sunday as the Lord's Day in commemoration of Jesus' resurrection, and they do not have a comparable Sabbath greeting. My usual disclaimer, always take AI answers with a grain of salt, but in general, that kind of makes a lot of sense, and it does seem quite weird, like they're maybe pushing, like I said, some kind of agenda. And the other thing I'll say is that the nefarious thing that seems to be happening here is that people, most people, I throw myself in this category, don't have any ill will towards the Jewish people, but what I do have a big problem with is Israel and Israeli influence on American politics, and I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way.
Do you think that Jewish gangsters are controlling the country?
No, not really. I am concerned about the impact of Israel in our country. I think that a lot of young people are, and I'm concerned about it in the way of, young people's biggest concern right now on both sides of the aisle is the economy. We are concerned about being able to buy homes. We are concerned about affordability. And so when we see the news, when we see how much money is being sent overseas to Ukraine, to Israel, whatever it may be, my generation is concerned. We are upset. It's not because of anti-Semitism. It is not because we, dislike people because of their race or their beliefs or their creed. It is simply like, this is what we're focusing on. Like, at the end of the day, I think I and so much of my generation is just tired of it. Like, I want to focus on American issues. And so when we spend all day talking and bickering about, foreign affairs and where all the money is going, it's like, I want to get back to how are we going to make life affordable for my generation? And if you're going to be focusing on what's going on overseas and making that your big priority, like, I honestly, to be totally transparent, and I think most of my generation would agree, I don't care.
Brett Cooper says Americans don't care about what's going on overseas when their quality of life is rapidly decaying in this country, and it seems like all everybody cares about is what is going on over there in the Middle East. And check this out. 1,070 handpicked evangelical pastors are in Israel being trained to become, quote, ambassadors for Israel. They say that this is an effort to help Israel in their 8th front war on info in the United States.
Well, number one, we have over 1,000. We have around 1,070 major handpicked evangelical pastors. We have over 200 connected to Donald Trump in the White House. These are the media people. These are the social media people. They influence tens of millions of people. And this is the first time in Israel's history it's ever happened. By the way, they're not coming on a tour. They're coming to become official ambassadors for the state of Israel.
Whoa. They're not coming on a tour. This isn't a vacation. They are going there to become ambassadors of Israel. American pastors going over to Israel to become Israeli ambassadors. Did he just say the quiet part out loud? This is part of Israel's latest plan to win back young people. They are going to woo over their pastors and get them to disseminate Israeli government propaganda from the pulpit. Wow, yes, it says right here, pastors and young pastors will come and be commissioned by the state of Israel as ambassadors. They will be required to complete a comprehensive online leadership and biblical worldview course They will undergo, quote, an immersive experience connecting with the land and its people before being formally commissioned as honorary ambassadors for Israel. They will also be asked to sign an ambassador policy signifying their dedication to the program's mission and values, which is what? Just be loyal to the state of Israel? Is that what's going on here? Let's keep going. The state of Israel will pay for the trip, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will personally sign the new ambassadors' diplomas and speak at their graduation, quote, underscoring the significance of this initiative to the nation. This year, the ambassador program plans to bring more than 1,000 participants, and in 2026, they aim to bring some 10,000 leaders to Israel. Something very off about this whole thing. And apparently, they're required to read this, I guess, history of Christian Zionism here. I won't pretend I'm not familiar with all of this scripture and theological teachings or whatnot, but Mel says the fun fact here is that in this 770-page document, Jesus is mentioned 56 times, Jews are mentioned 1,031 times. I don't even know what to make of that whole situation.
Stand up and be counted. Tell the truth. Speak to young people. Speak up and be counted. I'm counting on you, and I know you'll do what has to be done. That's what our destiny calls for.
This is not just Israel's fight. This is a fight for civilization. We are facing very much a civilizational struggle like we saw in the 30s between Nazism and the free world. Today, that Nazism is Islamism in coordination with communism, which today's expression is called woke, but it's the same thing.
Behind the scenes, Shira Mills of the Friends of Zion Museum helped make the summit possible.
Never been done before. This is something very unique, very difficult, but here we are. From my point of view, it's miraculous.
The vision going forward, recruiting 10,000 more pastors in the next 36 months.
And TPUSA seems to be the tip of the spear when it comes to this kind of Israeli Hasbara propaganda within conservative Christian circles. This is Jack Posobiec from just a couple of days ago, right? This kind of idea tying together Turning Point USA, Christianity, Judeo-Christian values. Just, they're really going all in on this messaging right now. And the reason why people think this is kind of weird is because of the things that Charlie was saying. He was, I think, in the last couple of months of his life, trying to really grapple with his faith and what that means in terms of foreign policy. In theory, we should be able to separate conversations about religion and conversations about foreign policy. And I think that's what Charlie Kirk was trying to do near the end of his life and trying to grapple with, once again, those differences. But it seems to me that that is sort of not allowed. We're all wondering, why is that the case? Is there more to this story than you're telling us? Is there more about Charlie Kirk's death than just a lone gunman, Tyler Robinson, being a very hateful dude? Is there something they're hiding? And apparently we are bad people for asking these kinds of questions, according to the CEO, the new CEO, Erika Kirk.
Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
No. Your family is your family, okay? The people who work at TPUSA, who work for you at TPUSA, they are your colleagues, okay? They're your colleagues at a $100 million plus organization, which we should have the right to scrutinize, right? You know, she talks a lot about how people are making money, they're grifting off of Charlie Kirk's assassination, spreading all kinds of conspiracy theories, this and that. Well, at the same time, she's literally sending out fundraising text messages off of the death of her husband and the former CEO of Turning Point USA. What is the difference here? And also, there are whistleblowers out there right now claiming, allegedly, that Turning Point USA itself has been compromised by foreign governments.
My name is Joshua Peterson. I'm a former representative for Turning Point USA, and I have a story to tell about when I was at training at Turning Point. So the first couple nights went as you would expect. It's pretty long and strenuous work. We were being trained very vigorously. And after the first few days, we were told that we were going to have some group time. And the first thing that I thought about that was that's going to be awesome. We get a group bond and stuff like that. And I get to hang out with my leader. However, this was not the case. We were going to be going out with our former representatives that had shown up from previous years and had been at training in previous years. And they were going to be the ones that were going to show us around the city. So I get paired up with these two specific people who I cannot name currently, but they take us out. And the first thing that I found very odd about, this Christian conservative company is they rented 2 stripper vans to take us out to the city. No strippers, but it was like there were stripper poles inside the vans. Very odd, very unlike, their values, but okay. And then once we got down to the bars in Arizona, they started getting us drunk. The former reps were, and very drunk at that. And then they started singling out people, and they would pull them out one by one to go outside and smoke like a cigarette. Now, when it was finally my turn to go and talk to them, they approached me and they asked me, hey, what are your views on Israel? And I just told them, I think Israel's a good country. At the time, I thought so, at least. And they told me, okay, well, what do you think about, Mossad and, Israeli forces? And I was like, they're all right, yeah. And they were like, what if we told you we're part of, Israeli groups and forces? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I'm like, and you work for Turning Point, right? And they were like, yeah, we do. We've been working for Turning Point for the past 4 or 5 years now. Now, at the time, I did not know if the company knew of this. I did not know if they were infiltrating the company by any means, but they were Israeli agents within Turning Point USA, and I knew that there were more as well, and there was many more of them in Turning Point. And it was a very concerning thing for me and a couple other representatives that we noticed. And we did end up bringing it up to our administration at Turning Point that this was going on, and they said they would take care of it. And sure enough, nothing was done about it. There was absolutely zero retaliation towards those representatives that were part of Israel, and there was nothing. And that was very disappointing to see, and honestly a huge red flag for a lot of us.
Are we not allowed to ask any questions that one of the largest political organizations in the United States might be compromised by a foreign government? You guys are aware that the Israelis are not even allowed into CIA headquarters. Okay, this is from John Kiriakou, who is the former CIA agent who spent 2 years in jail for whistleblowing about the torture program in Guantanamo Bay. And here he is saying that, right here, he says, we don't allow the Israelis into CIA headquarters. We used to, but every time they would come, they'd say, hey, we brought you gifts. Here's a gift for you. It's packed full of listening devices and batteries, he alleged. When Rogan expressed surprise, Kiriakou responded, every one of them. We'd say, you guys can't come back here every single time and try to bug our conference rooms. Kiriakou recounted what he characterized as a recruitment approach during an official briefing with Israeli officers. Quote, the guy goes like this, spell your name, I spell it, he writes it down, and he's looking at me over his glasses, and he says, are you Jewish? And I said, I am not recruitable. Don't even think about trying to recruit me, Kiriakou recalled. He claimed supervisors later told him they've done that to every single one of us. It's like they can't help themselves. You know how we always talk about Epstein being a potential alleged blackmail operation? Well, it's not out of the realm of possibility that the same thing could be happening to TPUSA. And I think maybe the same thing could be happening to Erika, or could have already happened to Erika, because let's not forget, she has a past.
This woman is hiding something very, very dark. Okay, despite the mainstream fact checkers telling us there's nothing to see here regarding some pretty heinous allegations, I'm here to tell you that the evidence is actually all there.
Believe that we all have angels in our lives, and these are my little angels from Antonio Placement Center in Constanța, Romania.
This is from a Romanian newspaper. This headline is translated, but it reads, a former translator from the American base in the city of Romania that I'm not going to pronounce, accuses, and she says that it's a real brothel operated here where minors were brought in. Quote, Anna Maria Nasiu was until recent years a translator at the American base, once again, city, can't pronounce it, Romanian name. Everything seemed to be normal until Anna Maria discovered that in this military unit belonging to NATO forces, there was a real brothel where underage girls came to satisfy the desires of some soldiers, especially the commander of the Black Sea Area Support Team base, Otto Buscher. Okay, Otto Buscher, remember that name. This next part is where the dots will connect. Okay, I'm gonna show you this video right here that was posted by Erika Kirk, then Erika Fransvi, on Vimeo. Basically, it's a commercial for Romanian Angels, and it was posted in 2013. It's basically a fluff video, but at the end, the person she thanks is none other than Colonel Otto Buscher. Yeah, here is a copy of the criminal complaint. It is in Romanian, but you can see the name Otto Buscher, and the years 2011 to 2013 is when these alleged crimes took place. So the person that Erika Kirk was working with in Romania to quote unquote help orphan children was accused of, yeah, not good. And you might be like, why have I never heard of this? Well, there's something called the US-Romania Defense Cooperation Agreement that was signed back in 2005, wherein crimes committed by US military personnel on Romanian bases used by US forces fall under US jurisdiction, especially if they occur while on duty or within the installations. So essentially, everything was just swept under the rug. This guy, Otto Buscher, just retires, and according to my research, here's his LinkedIn, he's like having a nice, quiet retirement in New Hampshire. Erika Kirk's Romanian Angels mysteriously just shuts down shortly thereafter. She then keeps a pretty low profile until she is set up on a TPUSA interview with Charlie Kirk, and they fall in love, they get married, and you won't believe this, but their wedding was actually funded by TPUSA, so very interesting. And fast forward, as we all know now, Charlie Kirk dies a gruesome death, and she takes over as CEO of Turning Point with the new organization now much more powerful than it ever was. So it's almost like Charlie is more valuable to them dead than alive. Something just feels wrong here. Those are all verifiable facts. Those things really did happen. She was really involved in such an organization. And let me remind people that because of a special agreement between Romania and the United States, Romania is not allowed to, they don't have the right to prosecute these crimes, and it's not under their jurisdiction. It's under the jurisdiction of the United States, and they've chosen right now not to do anything about it. But it doesn't mean that they can't pull this up when the time comes, when they need to say, hey, by the way, we got this dangling over your head. Maybe we do something about it now. And as far as Erika Kirk goes, she is a grieving widow, right? And I want to give her some of the benefit of the doubt here, because it's true. People say when she's happy, she's criticized. When she's sad, she's criticized. She really can do no right. And I think that's a little bit unfair. But Erika, you're also the leader of a major political youth organization in the United States. So we should have the right to ask questions. We should have the right to investigate your organization's ties to potentially shadowy figures or funding. And yes, we should have the right to question if the organization that you lead is potentially colluding with a certain foreign government. That is it for me this week. What do you think about Erika Kirk? Also, is there something super sketchy going on with this media tour that's going on, promoting, closer relationships with Israel, this kind of thing? Sound off in the comment section below. If you want to support my work, my journalism, you can become a member by going over to my website, 5149jameslee.com. You can also pick yourself up some merch. But if you aren't able to contribute monetarily, that is no worries at all. I think information should always be free. So if you want to support me, just take a second to give this video a thumbs up, like it, share it with your friends and family so more people know about this information. Subscribe, hit that notification bell as well if you so you can be the first to know when my next video drops. And as always, I'd love to thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.
I learned during COVID. I learned when they told us that it came from a bat in the Himalayas. I learned when they told us the vaccine was safe and effective. I learned when they told us that ivermectin was horse paste, that you better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free.